Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Sleeping Dogs. Perhaps you've noticed, but it turns out you can change the paint job of all of your cars.
What the fuck's going on?
Dog Eye shut up Winston's mother's restaurant tonight.
Winston, I just heard. Your mother?
She's fine. But two of our people were killed, and a couple customers were wounded. The police are there now.
Wait, he went after your family?
大佬, everyone's outside. 我哋隨時可以出發. Listen up! We're hitting his sweatshop on the waterfront. All his trucks move to that place. It's how he makes his money. I want it burned to the ground. Siwa runs the operation. Put that Gatan in the shallow grave.
Winston, are you sure about this?
Of course, I'm fucking sure.
Look, what's the chairman gonna say when he finds his warehouse floating in the ocean?
He's not gonna like it. But there's no way Dog Eyes walks away from this.
So burn the warehouse, but take Suwa alive. Put him to work for you, and give the chairman a bigger cut than he was getting from Dog Eyes.
Okay, do it. Bring him alive.
Right, boss.
You may have noticed, but I've decided to get dressed for a firefight. Feels familiar somehow.
Dog Guy's gotta know he fucked with the wrong people.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're short a gun. You're good with your hands, Shan. Let's see what you can do without iron.
Look, hold on. We shouldn't go in shooting anyone. There'll be workers in there. And we need Suwa alive. He's worth a fortune.
Oh, we're going in shooting. This is Dog Eye's biggest moneymaker. They're not gonna give it up without a fight.
But you want me unarmed.
You're the new guy. Once you're inside, find your own gun. And use it. Believe me.
What are you trying to do?
He was the one who was swerving.
I want to see proof that you're not a cop. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one test that matters.
So you want me to kill one of Dog Eye's drug dealers to prove it? All right? It'll be my pleasure.
The missing line was, I want to see some blood on your hands before the end of the night.
All right, here's the plan. Go to the back door. I'll look around. You wait for my signal to attack.
So in other words, we are going in alone for the rest of this mission. The other guys here, just there for decoration. But that's fine. This game is geared towards one man versus an army anyway. Well, guess they spotted me.
I know him. He's part of Winston's crew. Fucking get him.
So yeah, the ones in scrubs are civilians. Oh, Jesus. And you will have your cop score dinged if you accidentally harm them. Well, I guess if the boxes full of glass are the only environmentals, I might as well use them. Can barely hear what they're saying.
Who the fuck is this?
I guess this is... Well, no, this isn't the first grappler we've seen in the main storyline. But he is the second, so I guess it's good to have that reminder. In any case, I can't believe I took him down that fast. Maybe it's a storyline thing. Ooh, I can see some environmentals around here. You get the refrigerator. Well, the freezer, technically. Oh, and you've got a blade. Fortunately, I was in face mode at the time, so I could just steal it right out of his hands. Just stab everybody, holy crap. And you get the furnace. I forget, is that the first holy shit way environmental? Because holy shit, way. I guess that was all of them, so... Volt disarm. Your gun is mine, and you're down permanently. And I am switching to the mouse and keyboard. Because I want to actually shoot things. More civilians up here, but again, they clear out pretty fast, fortunately. And so long as you can keep on doing headshots, your slow-mo will keep on working. Also, interesting note, looks like that they are disguising the drugs in mannequins. Like they're mixing the drugs with plaster and turning them into mannequins so that they can smuggle them out. Gotta be careful not to touch them. If you touch someone who is on fire, dead or not, you will be injured. Oh, that was two of them. Now, always go for the explosive kills. They are worth 35 instead of 30 for a headshot. And yes, you can shoot around corners, shoot around cover. Also, even if it doesn't actually provide cover, so long as you vault, like I survived, so long as you vault, you can get the bullet time and use that as your defense instead.
Shit. Fuck. Siwa, you're coming with me.
Fuck you! You're not taking me alive! Stop! Alright, light it up!
Incidentally, I believe the Deus Ex outfit provides a resistance to bullets. And by the way, by vaulting over that thing there, and yeah, of course, these guys are just running. Everything's on fire, it makes sense. Ah, damn it. I went the wrong way. You can actually tackle him up here. And, bring him outside. But yeah, the outfit also comes with an assault rifle, a special assault rifle. But unfortunately, I lost it when the mission started. What do you mean, innocent hurt? I only tackled him.
Guys, help me!
Alright, anyway, you notice he stopped there. This is when you're... If you don't get him earlier, this is when you're supposed to get him. And yeah, when you run, you can't fire and also hold a hostage, but you can run with the hostage.
Don't move! Shit! I said, don't move!
Fucking cops.
Well, we didn't see it, but he managed to grab a police car during that explosion and all the confusion. And we managed to grab a police bicycle. A motorcycle. We've also got a police tail. But here's something interesting. When you action hijack another car, your police level goes down. Yeah. Now he can't see me.
Are you fucking done?
Okay, I'm done. What are you doing?
Shut up.
You know what you just did? You're dead! You're dead!
Look, I'm not afraid of dog eyes.
Dog eyes? Motherfucker, I get paid by dog eyes, but all my product goes to Big Smile Lee. You wanna fuck with him?
I just did.
You dumb bastards got any idea how badly this is going to fuck things?
Hey, ask me if I care.
My product is what makes the whole triad work.
I don't give a shit about your product. And you keep talking about it, I'm liable to forget I promised to bring you in alive.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You know what? I'm sick of listening to you.
So drop me off with some real gangsters.
Oh, you'll get to meet a few.
Dan, used to be this organization knew what he was doing. Now it's full of crazy motherfuckers and choir boys.
Shut the fuck up!
If I come to a complete stop, the hostage will escape. That's why I was driving around.
That was fucking crazy!
Apparently they saw some action.
See you. Nice to motherfucking meet you. From tonight on, your partnership with Dog Eyes is done. Take a ride with me. We can talk about the terms of your new partnership. You did good. Here, a little token of my respect. Keep this up and there's a lot more. I get the feeling things are looking up for the Water Street boys.
Thanks, boss.
Hey, man. Look, I don't do this often. But, I'm sorry, I was wrong about you. You show your true colors tonight, brother.
And by shooting at armed gangsters, because a cop would never do that. Alright, looks like we got a triad upgrade, which is good, because always short on those. We really only get them from main missions and the occasional event. Alright, looks like I've got melee dash attacks now. Nice. Alright, let's get out of here. But, well, first, look at the reports. Big Smile Lee, that's a new one. So, Big Smile Lee is, well, he's the antagonist, essentially. He is crazy and evil, even by Triad standards, and the report even says so in as many words.
Hey, it's Wei. I need a car.
A car? Takla! I'll be there right away.
Prostitution, human trafficking, sex slavery, all that terrible stuff. Drugs, of course.
Here you go. I hope this is good enough.
Thanks.
That's too bad. That's the default paint job. The special black branded paint job I had. Apparently that doesn't stick past choosing it at a garage. Oh well. I got some favors to do here, so...
Excuse me, it's the sheriff.
Hey man, how's it going?
I just finished another race. I'd have won, but Big Nose Chan cheated. He called the cops on me just as I was getting to the finish line. I barely escaped. You teach him not to pull that shit on your turf?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that would be cheating, but are you sure the cops didn't just arrive on their own? Because they do that sometimes with street racing. Alright. Anyway, once again, the second mission in this string. I need to race over to the other car that I'm supposed to smash before the owner gets there and drives it away. It's a little bit further away since this is the second mission in the string. And you'll notice, by the way, that the event, the favor event, has changed the station. I was on the metal station before. Alright. So it wants me to get a tire iron again, but, you know, I've kind of got this other idea of how to destroy the car, but, you know, first of all, I should probably get rid of this prompt here. Actually picking up the tire iron. And now that it wants me to destroy the race car, you know, there might be a more efficient way of doing it than with a tire iron. Oh, the music restarted. Interesting. So that's how they do it, by the way. How they make sure that appropriate music is playing during every event and mission. Looks pretty destroyed, but it's not registering. I don't know if that helped or not. Keep missing.
man's car? Don't you know that's how he makes a living?
Okay, well, these two guys, I know how to deal with them, at least. Oh good, it worked. Now he never has to worry about that guy cheating on him. Alright, what else do we have here? Oh, another favor. The other side of town.
Sounds good.
So yeah, you guys didn't need to see that drive. Alright, health regeneration's back. So,
Hey, buddy, can you help me out? Ah, just my damn luck.
What's the problem?
I borrowed money to bet, but I lost. And the guy took my truck. Can you get it back for me?
I'll get it back for you.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I'll make it worth your while.
seriously though, don't bet something that you need to do your job. I mean, once you do that, you really need to acknowledge that you have a problem here. But hey, you know gangsters, you don't have to worry about it. And hey, just because the game sets the initial track doesn't mean I can't change the station. Alright, action hijack on a truck. Things are a little different when it's a truck. We can just line up. There we jump through the truck, apparently. But yeah, you've actually got to climb your way up to the cabin when it comes to a truck. Alright, now let me get back to the guy who... You're
right here.
Huh. Apparently the warehouse is in front of me. Probably to make this job more convenient. And luckily I noticed it before the police showed up and made the indicator disappear. Oh Jesus. I think those cops are dead. There's probably at least one of them in that car. And they blew up with it. Ugh, crap. Well, luckily this was a favor, not a regular mission, otherwise that would have been a real big fat ding on my score. Alright, but yeah, anyway, the garage is one of the places where you buy cars. It's just up this way.
If you need something.
Dude, you called a known gangster to get your truck back. You know damn well what happened. Right, but yeah, like I said, this is a car shop, and yeah, interesting note, you can actually you can pick up cars that you already own if it's on their list, out of their garage. Pretty convenient. That was me just choosing the paint job just now. It's sort of a burnt orange look. Pretty nice.
This guy wants in, he's gonna have to show me some blood on his hands. You show your true colors tonight, brother.
You are an officer of the law.
Yeah, but the reason there were no active missions is because the next mission was for Wei Shen to fall asleep. I don't know why this happens sometimes, because he also falls asleep automatically, most of the time. Just occasionally they want you to actually go to your apartment and take a rest. But now that I have, I've got some new jobs that have opened up. Uncle Poe at the Club Bam Bam. And hey, a new round of cop jobs. Apparently these are DLC too, by the way. Anywho, since we're going to be going and doing some cop jobs, figure we should dress for the job we want, not the job we have. I mean, all the jobs change your outfits anyway, but you know, this just feels appropriate. Alright, let's get set up. And oh, wait.
Hello.
Wait, the Knox security company has refused to pay protection money. If you see their vans, hijack them and bring them to one of our garages.
Well, speak of the devil.
Sounds good. I'll grab them if I see them.
Alright, so unlike the Tran jobs, this is an infinite source of money. Oh, crap. It targeted the wrong car, like, right at the last second. For some reason, this guy is driving kind of erratically. But yeah, like I was saying, this is an infinite source of money. You can always hijack Knox vans and take them to the closest Triad dealership. But there are some complications. Every time you do so, you get police attention. Each time you bring one of the vans in, you get like 10,000 Hong Kong dollars plus 5,000 for each previous van, up to a maximum of 55,000 Hong Kong dollars per truck. But in exchange for the extra money, you get extra police attention. So I started out at 1, but when I'm taking the van in and getting $55,000, that is going to get me a full 5 flames worth of police attention. Just negotiate my way around these cars here. Alright. Now aren't we already an upstanding police officer? Hijacking a security van and taking it into the triads. Well, on the bright side, it put me within walking distance of one of the cop jobs, so here we go. Let's be an officer, for once.
Armed robbery. We need available PTU to respond.
We're on our way.
Alright, well, we've already seen this kind of job. You're in a van, you need to drive to where people are shooting at each other, and then you need to shoot all of the gangsters. Or wait, have we done this one before? See, the thing about the cop jobs is that there are only a few types, and eventually they start repeating. Yeah, I think this is the first armed robbery job.
Don't move, you're under arrest.
But there are a few more upcoming. You won't be seeing them because, you know, why bother? But for now, you know, you haven't seen them yet. And I'm still getting unique rewards instead of just money. And hey, the other cop job is just down the block here. But you don't need to see me running the whole way. Okay, now this I know you guys have seen before. Oh crap. Killed an innocent.
Good luck. Bring him in the line.
Maybe trouble if that car explodes. Apparently I can't arrest that one just yet. By the way, interesting note.
Alright, I have him in custody.
As soon as everybody is on the ground with these jobs, that counts as mission complete, even if they can get back up. Wow. Only one shield. Ooh, the cruiser. That's the sedan. That's the standard vehicle. A fun note. Those are usually the large sedans, like the Crown Royals and the hang on.
What's the situation?
We need you to go up top to get to your shooting position.
Oh, I forget what Ford calls its large sedan these days. But anyway, yep, this is another new type. Definitely new.
Shooting team, if you have the shot, you are clear to engage.
Sniper mission. Get a nice accurate weapon, fortunately. Incidentally, you can shoot them from anywhere. Like, on any part of their body, and they'll go down and it'll be mission success. So you can aim non-lethally. Relatively. Fortunately, that guy's gonna get away by the time the mission stats finish loading in. But hey, now I've got a van too. Alright, so I should probably start with a little explanation. You remember the third video, right? The raid? Well, it turns out that Kronish was talking about a different The Raid, so to make it up to him, I'm doing the one he actually asked for with this video. This is The Raid Redemption, an Indonesian film released in 2011, and which has a fair bit more in common with Sleeping Dogs, despite not being made in Hong Kong. The story about the story. So far, I've only talked about the lucky nations that fared the best during the colonial period of Asia. Thailand lost some territory, but not its sovereignty. China did a lot of losing and made a lot of concessions, but even during the worst years, it was too big and too centralized to colonize. And Japan westernized so fast that it even got to do a bit of colonizing itself, which is probably the kindest way the Pacific Theater has ever been put. Indonesia was not so lucky. In large part, that's because Indonesia was never a real country until recently. Instead, it was a series of islands and parts of islands between Southeast Asia and Australia that were controlled by a set of kingdoms and tribes that were very often at war with each other. Some of these kingdoms created spices that you couldn't find anywhere else in the world. While that made them wealthier than their neighbors, it also made them the targets of early European traders. Now, this segment is supposed to be about the film industry, so, to make a long and very miserable story short, the present-day borders of Indonesia exist because that's how much of the archipelago the Dutch East India Company controlled before it went defunct in the year 1800. After that, it became a national colony that the Netherlands only technically controlled because they had the best guns and fortresses around, and after the Japanese occupation of World War II ended, Indonesia formally declared independence. Independence the Netherlands recognized following 4 years of revolution. But back when the film industry first came into being, Indonesia was still a Dutch colony, and a rather poor one at that thanks to the collapse of the spice trade. Turns out, most spices are really cheap once you get rid of the monopolies. Because of this, Indonesia was very much an import market for films created elsewhere, and locals tried and failed to set up film studios for several decades. And even when the first Indonesian film finally got made in 1926, it was made by a Dutch director, and told the story of a Sudanese legend. Sudan is in Africa. But once the Indonesian film industry got its start, it wasn't long before it really got rolling. Well, rolling using money from other nations, because Indonesia was still poor as dirt. The film scene in Shanghai was booming in the late 20s, and so ethnically Chinese people in Indonesia started making movies using investment funds from Chinese film studios. But even that much died during the Great Depression, because the Netherlands imposed some extractive taxes on Indonesia to try and get their country going again, and the taxes killed the local film industry. In 1937, the Dutch journalist Albert Belink released Terang Bulan, the first big, successful domestic film to come out since the Great Depression started. It led to a big revival of Indonesian films, until the industry died again when the Japanese invaded in 1942. The Japanese didn't burn everything like they did in Hong Kong, but they did take over every single film studio and used them to produce newsreels and propaganda for Japanese audiences. Following independence, the new government of Indonesia quickly turned authoritarian and nationalistic, and so you probably know the story by this point. Heavy censorship, heavy use of propaganda and nationalist themes, and very little room for free expression. Still, the government did relax its standards over time, and that allowed the industry to reach a peak in the 1980s. They even got some international recognition. But a big part of this success came because the government had banned foreign films, And when that ban lifted in the early 90s, the local industry crashed. And then it crashed harder thanks to the Asian financial crisis. However, in recent years, democracy has started to take hold in Indonesia, and with it comes the free expression that media of all kinds needs to really flourish. The reborn industry could now create films that talked about real issues like race and religion. And while today's film isn't nearly so deep, it does represent another step forward for the industry. The Raid Redemption is similar to Ong Bak in that it's really a showcase of the nation's biggest martial art. In this case, Pencak Silat. But in grand Indonesian tradition, the movie's idea came from a foreigner, the Welsh director Gareth Evans. But thanks to his connections, The Raid had a top-notch production team and an international release, with money coming in from the USA and France and distribution coming from Sony Pictures. So while The Raid isn't a self-owned breakout smash like Ong Bak, it at least means that Indonesia is closer to getting one. Anyway, how about I stop talking about the industry and start discussing the story. We begin with a gun, a watch, and a man bowing towards Mecca because Indonesia is a majority Muslim country. This is Police Officer Rama. After some morning practice, he says goodbye to his wife, unborn child, and father. He's on his way to join a special tactics police team in assaulting the apartment building that serves as the headquarters of gang boss Tama Riyadi. On the way over, the squad's Sergeant Jaka says that they're there to take out Riyadi, his brains Andy, and his muscle Mad Dog. Rama asks why they're assaulting the place here and now since Riyadi has been there for 10 years, but he doesn't get an answer. The team disembarks and meets up with Lieutenant Wahyu, who is worried that Jaka's men are too inexperienced for this assault. The men split into two teams, and all goes well at first as they reach the building and start making their way inside. Rama's team meet a civilian at the front door, and Officer Bowo threatens him until Rama pulls him off. The team then start clearing apartments, since that's standard procedure when anyone could have a gun, and most of the people in this building are doing something illegal anyhow. A few floors up, the team's luck changes when they get spotted by an adolescent boy. The boy is a spotter, a non-combatant who is still trouble because he runs and warns another boy who runs and warns the intercom. Riyadi hears and doesn't seem too surprised, and he orders a lockdown. The order includes putting 2 snipers in a nearby building, snipers who start shooting cops outside and through the windows as the residents grab weapons and start organizing. Riyadi makes a general announcement. The police are on the 6th floor, and any resident who helps to kill them will get free rent for life. Sergeant Jaka tells Lieutenant Wahyu to call for reinforcements, but the lieutenant can't because this isn't exactly an authorized assault. Also, the lights just went out and the team is caught on an inner balcony, so they don't see residents line up with assault rifles the next floor up. And as soon as one of them fires on an opening door, the flash gives away their position and the residents open up. Up in Riyadi's office, Andy bursts in, angry that Riyadi just issued a kill order on a police squad. Even a gang as entrenched as them can't screw with the police. But Riyadi knows the lieutenant, and he knows that there won't be any reinforcements or repercussions. The now much smaller squad get out of the balcony area by ducking into an apartment and blocking the door, and they get out of the apartment by taking an axe to the floor. Some unarmed residents attack the first officer to jump down, so the officers who go after him just start shooting everyone, whether they're visibly armed or not. Once the apartment's clear, they try the same tactic again, but this time the residents are waiting and start shooting when they hear the axe. So Rama gets a bright idea, and he combines a propane tank with a refrigerator and a flashbang to explode everyone waiting outside the door. After the explosion, the movie takes a minute to catch its breath, both figuratively and literally. The gangsters count their dead and regroup into new teams, and the police revive their wounded and sneak away in separate groups through the now empty hallways. Rama takes a wounded Bowo to the apartment of the man he helped at the entrance, a man who got away just before the shooting started and whom Rama thinks will not try to kill them. But if he won't, the other guys on his floor will, and Rama has to use his nightstick and knife to fight off a bunch of dudes wielding hatchets and machetes just so he can reach apartment 726. And I mean, like, there's over a dozen guys here. It's brutal as hell. And just when you think, oh hey, they shifted focus, so it must be wrapping up, here comes round 3. Rama and Bo will make it to room 726 just before Mad Dog shows up, and the civilian takes pity on them and hides them in his stash room, despite the fact that it puts himself and his sick wife in danger. Mad Dog searches his apartment first, since he heard the door slam, and he starts stabbing the obvious fake wall with his machete. But even though the last stab is so close it cuts Rama's cheek, he manages to wipe the blood off the blade so it won't give him away. As all this happens, Andy is heading down the elevator with a couple of guards. Then he surprises and kills them both with a knife. We then cut back to Rama, who has patched up Bo-O as best he can. He asks the husband about the building, but the man has no good news to offer. He does, however, mention that he's seen the lieutenant around before. So Rama heads out to meet up with the rest of his squad. Rama gets spotted by some more machete guys on his way out, and after getting cornered in a different hallway, he gets into a rather lengthy fight scene with 4 residents. They smash into an apartment with some rather nice lighting halfway through, and then the fight ends with Rama smashing the last fighter through a window and down several stories. Someone shoots at him from below, so Rama goes back into the building through another window, and by the way he's staggering around, I'm pretty sure he's got a couple of broken ribs. Back with Wayu, Sergeant Jaka is severely pissed off by the situation and demands to know who ordered the hit on Riyadi. Because that's all this can really be at this point. A dirty cop or a politician who wanted to bury his connection to a mob boss. Wayu doesn't deny this, but he also won't say who's responsible. Jaka lets it go, but he refuses to leave without going back for Rama and Bo-O. But as soon as he leaves the room, Jaka gets ambushed by Mad Dog and held at gunpoint. However, instead of pulling the trigger, Mad Dog lets the other 2 cops run for it and makes Jaka move back into the apartment. Turns out, he prefers using his fists to using a gun, and so we get an extended one-on-one fight between Jaka and Mad Dog. Both fighters get seriously hurt, but Mad Dog eventually knocks Jaka senseless and snaps his neck. We next see what's happened to Rama. Turns out Andy found him and dragged him to a quiet apartment to recover from his injuries. Andy, it seems, is Rama's estranged brother, and Rama wants to bring him home. But Andy doesn't want to go home, not even after he's killed 2 fellow gangsters, and all he does is tell Rama to leave once the coast is clear. Andy then meets Mad Dog at the elevator, and Rama spots Mad Dog dragging Jaka's corpse with him. Soon after that, Rama encounters Wayu and Dagu, the one other surviving member of the assault team. Rama tells them the only way out is to go to the top, to capture Riyadi and use him as a hostage to try and escape. Wayu knows where he is, of course, but it's gonna be hard getting to him. Up with Riyadi, he has Mad Dog stab Andy through the hand with a knife. Turns out he saw Andy helping Rama on one of his cameras. He doesn't want to know why he did it, however. He realizes that the 2 of them have to have some sort of connection, and so he simply wants to kill Rama or Andy in front of each other. The cops get up to the drug-making floor. Both Rama and Dagu start kicking everybody's asses. Even the lieutenant gets in a few good hits. Eventually the knives come out and the fight gets really brutal. Oh, and also, I'd just like to say that while the movie is almost entirely shot in shaky cam vision, especially the fights, they managed to do a good job of making sure that you understand where everyone is and what they're doing to each other. It's not that common to see an action movie accomplish both of these at once. As the officers run out of the drug production room, Rama stops, because he spots a familiar figure receiving a beating behind a heavy steel door. Mad Dog is torturing a tied-up Andy, so Rama steps inside to save him. Mad Dog rather sportingly allows Rama to untie Andy and bandage his wound because, as you'll recall, Mad Dog likes to fight. What follows is the movie's climactic fight scene, Rama and Andy versus Mad Dog. All three fighters have seen some damage this day, though Andy and Rama more so than Mad Dog. Also, while Rama is a protagonist-level fighter, Andy isn't nearly so well trained. Plus, they haven't seen each other in years, and so their moments of teamwork are infrequent and incidental. Still, one thing they are able to do is press Mad Dog relentlessly, not giving him 1 second to rest. Even so, Mad Dog knocks Andy down and gets Rama in his neck-breaking hold, and even after Andy ends that hold by puncturing his neck with a fluorescent bulb, Mad Dog is still able to keep fighting for a solid minute before Rama shoves the glass the rest of the way into his neck. While the fight is happening, Wayu and Dagu reach Riyadi's office. Wayu holds a gun to Riyadi, but he shoots Dagu, because Dagu knows too much. He then shoots at Rama when he tries to go up to help him, and when Rama retreats, Riyadi starts taunting Wayu. Riyadi was expecting Wayu's team because he got a call from Reza, a man who outranks both of them in the criminal underworld. The hit was never on Riyadi. The hit was on Wayu, and since he's a cop, dying in Riyadi's apartment building was the most convenient way to get rid of him. So Wayu shuts Riyadi up with a bullet to the temple, and then turns the gun on himself, but the revolver is empty. So Rama zip ties Wayu, Andy grabs the evidence on dirty cops Riyadi was keeping for insurance, and the three of them, plus Bowo, quietly walk out to the front gate. And as Andy turns back at the gate, the new head of Riyadi's crime family, the credits roll. The style. Pencak Silat is a lot like Chinese Kung Fu. It's not a set style so much as an umbrella term that refers to a whole family of martial arts styles. But considering how spread out Indonesia is, the differences are less about schools and masters and more about regions. Depending on where you look, you'll find Silat styles that focus on strikes, grapples, arm moves, leg moves, or weapons. And even with weapons, you've got a dozen different options. Still, Pencak Silat does have some distinguishing features, and they all come from the unique history of Indonesia. See, Indonesia has never been a peaceful territory, not even before the first Europeans ever set foot on the islands. It's kind of hard to build a stable kingdom or empire out of the world's biggest archipelago, especially when almost every island is covered in thick jungles. Conquerors, no matter where they were from, could at best control hardpoints and population centers. The islands themselves were always dangerous, and almost half of them aren't even inhabited to this day. As a result of this history, guerrilla warfare hasn't been a constant problem so much as it's been a national tradition, especially during the years they spent as a corporate and then a Dutch colony. It's gotten better in recent years thanks to an increasingly democratic government, but there are still some islands that tourists should really avoid. Because of the constant guerrilla combat, Pencak Silat in all its forms is still very much a combat martial art. I mean, they do have a national regulatory organization, and many Silat styles are now more for competitions than for killing, but let me put it to you like this. Pencak Silat styles tend to favor small-bladed weapons, because blades kill faster than blunt weapons, and small weapons are easier to conceal. The kris, a wavy, double-edged dagger, is practically the national weapon of Indonesia. Most Silat styles include training in at least one short blade, and many of their unarmed moves work just as well or better when you have a weapon in your hand. Guerrilla combat also explains something else most Pencak Silat styles have in common: evasion. Now, Silat isn't about using your opponent's weight or momentum the way the judo does. It's about dodging away and being unpredictable so that your opponent will miss. After all, they may be better armed than you, and you don't want to get stabbed. The Raid Redemption is a good showcase of Penchak Silat because the combat follows the principles that underpin the style. Fight with what you've got, whether that's guns, knives, nightsticks, machetes, or broken light bulbs. When your opponent is armed, prioritize evasion. Don't hold back from killing blows, but don't expose yourself in the process. Use kicks, punches, knees, elbows, grapples, and throws, whatever works best. And if you can take on the boss in a 2-on-1 bout, fuck your honor and do it. Thanks for joining me again for today's film review, and I hope I'll see you next time for Jet Li's Hollywood Breakout.